Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Yakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is Thamayim in Atlanta, and I've got this article pulled up. It's through Yahoo News, but came originally from the Telegraph, published Tuesday, April 22nd. And it says experiments to dim the sun get green light. So they're getting the go-ahead to do these experiments, in which I've been hearing about these experiments over the last few years, with China mentioning it and also mentioning putting up their own faux moon, a fake moon or a synthetic moon into the sky. And I've been hearing about this to dim the sun. I think even old Billy G mentioned it not too long ago, but now it's getting funding over in the UK. It says experiments to dim sunlight to fight global warming will be given the green light by the government within weeks. Outdoor field trials, which could include injecting aerosols into the atmosphere, in which they've already been doing that for a long time with these chemtrails or contrails, which it's barium and aluminum that they put into the atmosphere. They've been doing that. It says, or brightening clouds to reflect sunshine are being considered by scientists as a way to prevent runaway climate change. And as we know, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. And the wicked being the Edomites who are in power. That the so-called white man, including these small hatters that are in the Lord's land claiming to be the Lord's people. Those are the Edomites. Those are the wicked of the Bible. And the scripts tell us that they don't do any good. So they're pushing this problem of global warming and trying to tell people that they have to stop it for the good of humanity. But at the end of the day, they don't do any good. They always have something else in the back of their mind. They always have another plan that they're working on, that being the elite of the Edomites. And so here's the book of Sirach 14:7. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. This is speaking of the wicked, speaking of the Edomites, so-called white man, and the small hatters. And it says, and at the last he will declare his wickedness, because they always have an ulterior motive. They'll present something like it's good, but it's always there to hurt you. And so with this climate change stuff and them presenting something like they're going to be doing good for humanity, this is only going to hurt people. Can't take away the sun. This will just contribute to a famine, and it'll contribute to the hearts of many waxing cold, because you need sunlight to grow plants, and for food sources you need sunlight, even just as a human being, to not be depressed. People in climates with less sun exposure, they usually have to take vitamin D3 supplements or else be extremely depressed. I remember years ago seeing something about how people out in Washington and Seattle have to take more vitamin D3 because of the depression, and it was something that their government was even mentioning and talking about. But basically, they're trying to say they're doing good, but this is not going to do any good whatsoever. Cesaria, the government's Advanced Research and Invention Funding Agency, has set aside 50 million euros for projects which will be announced in the coming weeks. Professor Mark Symes, the program director for ARIA, Advanced Research and Invention Agency, said there would be small controlled outdoor experiments on particular approaches. We will be announcing who we have given funding to in a few weeks. When we do so, we will be making clear when any outdoor experiments might be taking place, he said. One of the missing pieces in this debate was physical data from the real world. Models can only tell us so much. Everything we do is going to be Safe by design, we're absolutely committed to responsible research, including responsible outdoor research. This could knock humanity into another ice age. This could present far more problems than they even ever intended to have, because the sun is a really big deal for the earth. That's how we get warmth. That's how our foods grow. That's how our bodies grow. That's in the sun and the moon together. Well, the moon itself, tells times and seasons, and our circadian rhythms are by that the way in which we sleep, our sleep schedule, and different animals have their own schedules, maybe not even just sleep, on different breeding cycles and things like that through the sun and the moon. And so this could affect everything. It says we have strong requirements around the length of time experiments can run for and their reversibility, and we won't be funding the release of any toxic substances to the environment. And when has Esau ever not done that? That's all they've done. They've polluted the earth, and they're just trying to pollute it more. And they're going to pay for the destroying of the earth, and they're trying to rack up that bill as high as they can. It says geoengineering projects which seek to artificially alter the climate have proven controversial, with critics arguing they could bring damaging knock-on effects as well as being an unhelpful distraction from lowering emissions. However, scientists are increasingly concerned that carbon dioxide levels are not falling fast enough and that further action may be needed to prevent catastrophic warming. And they've known for years that they could run engines off of water, but they're not trying to get rid of that. They're just trying to block out the sun. This is one major area of research is sunlight reflection methods, which includes stratospheric aerosol injection, whereby tiny particles are released into the stratosphere to reflect sunlight. Another potential solution is marine cloud brightening, in which ships would spray sea salt particles into the sky to enhance the reflectivity of low-lying clouds. This all just sounds like terrible ideas. Could really just be Esau trying to live within the earth without getting sunburns, but we'll see. It says in recent decades, experts noticed that the clouds above shipping routes were far brighter than usual, as pollution caused them to become more reflective, bringing an overall dimming effect. This cooling from shipping fumes was so marked that when international regulations were enacted to curb sulfur dioxide emissions in 2020, it caused a spike in global warming, scientists believe. Professor Jim Haywood of atmospheric science at the University of Exeter said if you inject small particles into clouds, you can brighten them, hence reflecting more sunlight back out to space. How do we know this could work? Well, there are a couple of very strong pieces of evidence. Ship emissions from the smokestack into the marine environment led to bright lines in the clouds over the ocean. Then there was a volcanic eruption in Iceland in 2014 which spilled out a lot of sulfur dioxide. What this does is it brightens clouds and cools the planet. What we need to do is some form of field experiments. And what we need to do is have you Edomites run your course and come out of power, because you've turned the earth upside down already, and you've already got so much to pay for. You're just making things worse for yourself. Says other ideas for geoengineering include seeding cirrus clouds to allow more heat to escape into space. Currently, the wispy high-altitude clouds act as a blanket, trapping in heat. And Esau needs to be removed. This could affect so much. And as I was saying, this could go into the hearts of many waxing cold, and these people becoming extremely depressed from lack of sunlight. But let's go to the scripts. We're going to start here in Revelation 21 and down here at 23, because Esau has this God complex, and they're trying to create their own kingdom of heaven here, in which it's already passed. They're in their kingdom, and it's being brought down, but they're trying to keep going and have all this AI and technology and everything they dream of within the kingdom, and their faux immortality brought on through technology, as well as the MOTB within every single body on the earth. But getting back to this, they're trying to create their own kingdom, because the scripts speak of the kingdom being like this, Revelation 21 and 23. And the city had no need of the sun. This is speaking of the kingdom of heaven. Neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of the Most High did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof, Yahushua, the Lamb. And I wanted to go to that just because they are trying to recreate the kingdom and everything the Lord promised to the Israelites. They want it for themselves, but they can't have it because they are destroyers, in which even that experiment they're trying to do is a form of destruction. They're trying to destroy the sun's light, its rays onto the earth, which help everything to grow and thrive. They're trying to take that away. And they just have to be removed. They need to be removed. And Lord will, they actually get going with this experiment, because it would just be bringing another plague onto them. This is Exodus 10 with the plagues in Egypt, which Moses helped to bring, or which the Lord did through Moses' hand. So Exodus 10 and 21. And the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. This is one of the plagues in Egypt, and they're basically bringing these plagues onto themselves and onto the earth. It says, Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. This is going to hurt the Edomites in their last remaining moments within their kingdom, trying to dim the sun. And it's going to bring a plague onto them, which I was saying earlier, this could possibly go into the famines that are spoken of. So there'll be a lot less growth with a dimmer sun. And who knows, maybe they mess up to where, no, I'm not even going to say that, just, it's not going to work out. All their things, all their plans are not going to come to fruition. Last one here in Joel 2, because the Lord prophesied the sun being turned to darkness, and these Edomites, the wicked, are currently trying to dim the sun. So that could possibly, the sun being turned to darkness could come from the Edomites. The Lord could do it through their hand, in which we know the missiles, when they're shot, is going to make everything dark. But maybe, just speaking as a man, maybe the Lord uses these Edomites and their experiments to do the same thing, because it speaks of this. Joel 2 and verse 30. And I will show wonders in the heavens, and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness. And they're trying to dim the sun, and the moon into blood. And we've seen other signs with different solar and lunar eclipses. And then them dimming the sun itself would be a sign that the Lord has to come back soon, because this isn't good for anybody. It's just before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. And so them dimming the sun shows, or trying to, shows that Yahweh Shai is coming back soon. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakach Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.